Pariah Nexus is a new show on Warhammer TV, which you can access through Warhammer Plus. This show was done by the artistic man who did Astartes show here on YouTube, and this show, despite being only one episode, is an artistic piece. The animations are fantastic, the sound is beautiful, and the tone is grim and horror-inducing. From what we can tell from the first episode, this show takes place on a holy world blessed by some saint who was attacked by Luminor Xeris. Now, who is this Necron SOB? He's the designer of the Soul Forge, who sees Adeptus Mechanicus's idea of the flesh is weak and laughs, thinking even the soul is weak. His goals are to reach godhood and overpower the Catan he captures and enthralls like the Lich King does corpses. Speaking of that, this show has a scene early on that unfortunately I can't show with full motion or with sound, but here's some scenes from it. Yeah, the captions give you a general idea of what the fuck is going on, and it's absolutely horrifying. These people are killed through torturous means in order for Xeris to test and figure out the secrets of life, and figure out how to ascend to power beyond that of mere mortal being. Now, during his tests, he seems to be able to spread a necrotic plague, which is odd given Xeris is described as a technomancer. This plague seems to keep a corpse in their final moments of death, scared and twitching, fighting in a desperate plea to survive, thinking they are alive. Judging by the Warhammer setting, I could argue how to. Perhaps he is putting in the bodies to keep it sparking with life. Those final moments are all they can live through. Given the people are saying they're blind and can't see and only react when touched, perhaps? Necrons are supposed to be masters of torture, and an absolute horrifying enemy to deal with, given how many times they can just get up and keep on keeping on. Of course, a few Space Marines we see give us an idea of where we are in the galaxy. We see a few at the beginning, one in the middle, and one more at the end. The beginning and the end ones are wearing green Mark 8 power armor, Phobos class by the looks of it. You can see a glimpse of a fire company mark on the right shoulder of one, which leads me to believe these are salamanders of the intercessor class of warriors. In the end, you can get a better look at said marine, green armor with a salamander insignia on the left shoulder, carrying a bolt rifle. Definitely an intercessor, but in the middle there's a scene with a blue armored soldier with a shield on his chest, looking like an assault intercessor sergeant, with the Ultramarine sigil on his left shoulder. Now, with these two Marines, it gives us a little bit of insight as to where they are. A planet that is described as being totally destroyed, but with Salamanders and Ultramarines, they are in the Segmentum Ultima region, which is home to the realms of Ultramar and the volcanic world of Nocturne. This narrows down a lot of this show, given the show's name. It most likely takes part during the Pariah Crusade, meaning the Necrons we see, including the Illuminor, might be part of the Saltec dynasty during the Pariah Crusades. Problem being is that I can't find anywhere where it says which dynasty Xeris belongs to. This might give us our answers, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The logo of the show seems to use the Ankh of the Triarch, which is the icon of the Necron race as a whole, representing their ancient empire before the war in heaven. Of course, that's just my theory about the Necrons and the Space Marines. Given we see two showings of salamanders, we can assume they'll play a big part in the show, making me assume that this takes place closer to Nocturne World while being slightly further from the realms of Ultramar, though the entire sector is the Ultramarines' domain. At one point, we see the Bolter Babe gunning down zombies, for lack of a better word for them, while listening to her give a combat prayer, something common among the Sisters of Battle. While doing so, we see a gas-masked individual. This could be one of the Death Corps of Krieg, but the voice is a little old in my opinion, given Kriegsmen tend not to live to vote in America. It's possible that whatever reanimated him didn't bother or care enough to remove the mask. Of course, we see others in this scene, from Cadian uniforms to more, though a lot of uniforms from different segmentum and different sectors look very similar. This is more of a marketing thing than a lore thing, since Games Workshop wants you to be allowed to paint your troops however you want while still making sales. Necron machines are far too advanced for the Imperium of Man to really understand, and for certain Adeptus Mechanicus, they like to try and figure them out. Of course, my question is, what world is this, and what Imperium saint consecrated this world? But then there's, why is Illuminor Xeris even here? He usually seeks test subjects for his wild experiments, but what is he testing? And he tends to favor Eldar units as well. But then his tactics are also confusing too. I'm curious about his intent of this story. Illuminor Xeris awakens a death mark to snipe what seems to be any and every survivor on the planet, including the Ultramarine. But even the death mark says it would be better to get a destroyer-class Necron to just kill them all. Xeris responds by saying he wants discretion, quote-unquote, which the death mark doesn't even sneak around. It pops in, snipes, pops out. The Imperial Guard and the Ultramarine all put up a good fight against it, even though it never takes a shot, which is sort of a laughing matter against the Smurf. So our main characters are the Zealot with a belt fed and an Imperial Guard who's literally talking to the Zealot and committing the crime of heresy every 12 seconds. Given the setting and the fact that the nun with the gun doesn't just shoot the heretic in the face, that is sort of off-putting to me, but she's also got an Inquisitor mark on her chest, so who knows what Ordo she is a part of. I'm honestly excited to see the next episode and want to see how much I got wrong. But let's go over my short list of predictions. The show takes place during the Pariah Crusade. Illuminor Xeris is likely aligned with the Saltec dynasty to fight against the humans to gain more test subjects. Salamanders are working to purge this world of aliens, and given their culture, likely protect the surviving citizens, though often soldiers they see as on par on them with the work list. I can't wait to see the next episode, and to see how much of my predictions are just tossed out the window. Will the Sister of Battle reunite with her unit? Will she find her mother, and given the implied amount that she would earlier in the episode? Will the Guardsmen find faith? Well, it'll probably be a while given how inconsistent Warhammer TV is about shows, so I'm gonna go to bed because I'm sick as hell, as you can hear. So shove off.